another tweet from Sam Altman. He's been busy. He said something very interesting. He said, we're entering the fast fashion era of SaaS very soon. So SaaS is software as a service. I'm think of an example. Something like Typeform. Typeform is a form software where you can build forms, you can publish the forms, customers or audience members or whatever can fill out your forms and you get the result. The form is quite expensive for what it does, which is incredibly basic. So Typeform costs, I'm going to check this price. Yeah, it's not even saying the price. It's hiding the price. I remember it being bizarrely expensive. Okay. They've got the price all the way at the bottom. It's an incredibly basic piece of software. It starts at £20 a month. So $25 a month. And that's if I pay yearly. So if I pay monthly, it is about $30 per month for what is basically a form. Incredibly expensive for what it is. It's useful. Yeah, it can help your business. Obviously, you can make more money using it, etc. But it's still a lot of money. And this only includes 100 responses a month. Terrible. This is a really bad value deal. So with artificial intelligence, with vibe coding, I could create my own type form in, I don't know, 2 hours, maybe. Especially if I was doing it for internal usage, if I wasn't trying to sell forms to people, but instead just building a form software for myself, I can maybe build it in an hour, probably less. And then I no longer need to pay Typeform $30 a month. Great. And a lot of businesses will be looking at this, especially smaller businesses, solopreneurs, and startups, because it's a good way to keep down prices. What this means is, Sam Altman is saying, we're entering the fast fashion era of SaaS. Previously, a company like Typeform, let's see how many employees Typeform has. Typeform has apparently a remote company, over 250 people, apparently, which is too many people for, again, a very simple form. There's another famous example. I've forgotten what it was. Totally forgotten. There's DocuSign. So DocuSign is, again, a basic piece of software. It just allows you to send a document for somebody to sign it, and then that document comes back to you. Yes, there's additional security, etc., but DocuSign has nearly 7,000 employees to basically have a document signing solution. An absolutely mad number of employees. And DocuSign, let's see what their revenue is. Probably quite high because they'll do B2B. 2.5 billion almost, apparently. So they're making a lot of money. They have a large team, but the actual base product itself is incredibly basic. It's not very difficult, and it is something that can now be created internally using vibe coding, at least a basic version of it, very quickly. And that's going to become easier and easier as the tools become more sophisticated. So the fast fashion era of SaaS means fast fashion is started with Zara, interestingly, but now it's associated with brands like Boohoo, Shine, or Shane. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Gosh, I'm totally blanking out on them because I do not buy them. Boohoo is probably the best example, where so styles are set on the Milan fashion show, the Paris fashion show, etc. These fast fashion companies can see what's happening on these catwalks. They can understand where the fashion is going in the next few months. They can instruct their factories, which tend to be over in South Asia and Southeast Asia, to produce at huge quantities items of clothing which are going to match these new fashions. And it's done cheap, it's done fast, it's brought to market incredibly quickly. This is Zara who actually pioneered the idea of fast fashion, but they've been overtaken by Shine, Boohoo, many other companies. But it means lots of people are buying clothing, they're buying fashion to wear once or twice and then never wear it again because they're moving on to the next thing. And it's fast. And generally means the quality is also not quite as high as well. But Sam Altman is saying that we're going to be doing the same thing with software as a service. We're going to be doing the same thing with software as a whole. We won't necessarily need an Adobe subscription. We don't need to sign up to DocuSign. We don't need a Typeform subscription because we can probably buy much cheaper versions coming from Vibe Code Studios, or we can even build them ourselves in-house. So it means we are much more likely to discard these pieces of software, which is very difficult to do when you have something like Salesforce. So Salesforce, anyone who's used Salesforce who's on the live will know it's a big, heavy not very good piece of software that has just been around for so long that it is embedded and it is entwined in so many systems. But you talk to anyone about Salesforce and do they like using it? No, no one likes using it. It's old. It's really old fashioned, but it's just what people are stuck with. We're going to be moving away from that and moving towards custom solutions that can be created for the particular business. No, but the use of the word fast fashion here is interesting because it suggests cheap. It suggests low quality. It suggests AI slop, basically. So being able to create trash very quickly. So I think it's, to a certain extent, he knows how to market, he knows how to get attention. So I think he's used fast fashion for that particular reason. We are definitely moving away from couture, like customized, highly expensive B2B enterprise software into something new. But using the word fast fashion is interesting because it does also suggest low quality. I think he's probably just trolling there too. But there is an argument to be said that vibe coded stuff is a lower quality because obviously you don't have 600 people working purely on your form software. But do you need it? If you just need to collect form responses from your customers, form responses from audience members, whatever it is, do you need to spend $30 a month, $100 a month on collecting those responses and therefore support a team of 600 people who are building that form software? Or do you just need to do a couple of forms with a couple of customers and you want to do that for free and you don't particularly care how much it costs or what it looks like? I think a lot of, especially solopreneurs and smaller businesses, will move in that direction because cost is a big issue and people are very cost sensitive. But again, we will see. That is basically the watchword for this whole program. And everything I do is we'll see. We don't really know. But it's an interesting take, the fast fashion era. Let me hop over to questions and see what we're doing. Yeah, DocuSign, Marcus is saying DocuSign is a crazy example. The fact that DocuSign has 6,000, nearly 7,000 employees never ceases to astound me. Every time I look it up, because I forget the number, and I see that DocuSign has 7,000 employees, it's, what are you doing? So that is a market that is easily disruptable because DocuSign costs, I didn't even look up DocuSign costs. DocuSign costs a fortune. Oh, there's loads of people trying to. So the basic is, oh, that's just e-signature. So the Business Pro is, what's that, 40, no, okay, is £54 a month. So Business Pro is $75 a month, which is quite a lot for a small company for, again, what is basically, I don't want to dump on them too much, but it's basically sending a signable PDF to people, then bringing it back to you and then securing it. So the security is important here. So anyone who did create a alternative would have to create something that is enterprise secure. That's going to be the biggest barrier. But the basic functionality is sending a document to an email address, somebody adding a digital signature, and it gets sent back. That's it. Like, calm down, guys. So this is rife for being disrupted. There are others like PandaDoc. What are the other ones here? OneFlow, never heard of that one, etc., etc. Here, right here, the top Reddit results, the top organic is, I can't justify the price of DocuSign over other e-signatures. Yeah. So that's going to be demolished by smaller entrants or law firms and other firms working out how to build their own document signing solutions so they don't need to rely on DocuSign. But again, we can never discount apathy and laziness. If a company has been using Salesforce or DocuSign or whatever it is for the last 10 years, the switching cost of moving over to another system is huge. So a lot of these companies will just continue based off the back of this because it is just so hard to migrate out of something else. So even if there is something that is 1/100th of the cost, the risk and the pain and the cost of doing that transfer is going to keep people locked in, at least for now. But for newer companies, more agile companies, solopreneurs, smaller teams, which increasingly we're going to be seeing because of artificial intelligence, they're going to be using much more lightweight solutions or building their own solutions using vibe coding. High, low quality, fast SaaS. I believe there'll be custom software solutions for a lot of companies. This is Jack saying, yeah. So I think there's a big gap in the market basically to go into companies and say, hey, do you want us to build a custom suite of tools for these specific use cases? That is like all of AI consulting, all of AI automation, it starts with knowing the industry. So this actually leads beautifully into my next point, which was, so this is Jared Friedman, who, what does he do? He's a Y Combinator. I don't know his actual role. Entrepreneur, that's unhelpful. Founder, techno-optimist, college dropout partner. Okay, he's a partner at Y Combinator. So Y Combinator is probably the most prestigious, well-known accelerator. So they bring in small companies, small teams who have promising ideas. They help them to build out those ideas into generally software products, pretty much always software products. It's Silicon Valley based. And then they will help them with funding. And in exchange, they'll take a percentage of that company. And every single year, there's a cohort that comes through, maybe two. Somebody probably knows better than me, but a batch will go through Y Combinator, and then everyone's watching these companies to see what they can do. So Jared Friedman, who is a partner at Y Combinator, has said, if you're building an AI agent to automate some job, like a payroll specialist, for example, the hardcore move is just to go and get that job and do it for a while. We call this going undercover, and we're seeing more of the top founders do it. It's the best way to learn what to build. So it is hilarious that getting a job is called going undercover. And I wonder how many wannabe entrepreneurs are going to be talking about using this language in the future. Yeah, no, I'm just going undercover, working in a fast food shop for now, but you watch. But I thought this was a very interesting idea because it's true. So if you want to automate something, you need to know what the business needs. So too many AI automation experts, AI consultants, etc., are just going into companies and saying, let's do some AI. And unfortunately, too many leaders, so CEOs, CTOs, etc., are also doing this. So I go into companies and I'll talk to leaders, CEOs, and they'll be like, we want to do AI. You need to work out what you want to do with AI. It's a bit like saying, we want to do internet. Can you do web for us? It doesn't make any sense because AI is so broad. It's a general purpose technology. It's a platform upon which we can build stuff. So just saying we're going to do AI means nothing. Instead, what we need to do is come at it from a business point of view. We need to see what actual business problems they have and what business problems AI can help to resolve. So let's say we go into a company and they spend hundreds of hours a week on customer service. And 80% of those customer service responses are actually pretty basic stuff. It's the same 4 or 5 questions coming up again and again. This is the kind of thing that is very easy to automate because it has very set of instructions, a set of steps that we can take. So as an AI consultant or an AI automator, the main thing we're doing is going in and helping companies to realize where these opportunities lie and then helping them to solve it, maybe using artificial intelligence, maybe not. Sometimes you do not need artificial intelligence, and adding it just adds complexity because it adds a stochastic, a random element into the workflow. And this is especially the case with AI agents because AI agents can go off the rails, even more so than a standard AI automation. So what Jared is saying though is you need to go and get the job, learn the job, and then you will know what problems are in that particular role, in that sector, in that industry, which AI can help with. So this is a way to do it if you're 18 years old, you're 19 years old, and you want to start a Y Combinator funded startup in San Francisco. So this is very niche advice. More broadly though, this is exciting for us because if you have worked in an industry for the last 10 years, then you know what the problems are. You know what the frustrations and friction points are in your particular industry. And if you feel them in your particular role, in your particular sector, chances are every other company, every other person in the industry in your particular role is feeling that as well. That means you have this going undercover, you have this intel that Jared Friedman has talked about already. So I think that is more exciting than whatever these 18, 19-year-olds are doing. That's fine. But what's more exciting for me is that normal people who've been working in a job for 10, 20 years have that knowledge already. They have it implicitly seared into your brain what is annoying in your job. So you are in a better position to step back and be like, can we automate this? Can we build a piece of software? Can we build an AI automation? Could we create an agent that covers this role? And you can start doing it for yourself, basically trying to replace yourself with a piece of AI. The reason you would do this is not to get yourself out of a job, is to get yourself out of the job, but by being able to sell this to every other company who does the same process on Earth. So you can work out how to automate your job, how to implement or augment using artificial intelligence. Then you can go to every other company and say, hey, I built this thing. It saves 20 hours a week. Are you interested in buying it for $100 a month? Yes, they will be. And so you already have that information. So you don't need to go deeply undercover. You can dig into your prior experience. The same can be said of education. So I know I'm a broken record on this, but if you are in an industry, let's say you're in education or you're in marketing or manufacturing, whatever it is, you know a lot more about that industry than some random consultant, some random advisor who talks about artificial intelligence. So there's a huge opportunity for you to start to create content, educational content, talking to other people in your industry about AI, how they could use AI, what it's good for, what it's not good for, and just basically becoming a communicator and somebody who helps other people in your industry. And the doors are wide open for most industries because most AI experts, AI content creators go broad. They just talk about general uses AI. I'm a bit more narrow. I tend to talk about business uses, but that's still pretty broad. If you go into your particular industry, so let's say you work in aeronautics and you create content and you talk about, you get on stage, you give workshops, you go and advise, consult in the aeronautics industry, you can carve out that particular space because I don't think anybody has claimed that, for example. But you need to look at what your personal niche is, what your expertise are, and then go and claim that space because we are still early and everyone's still talking in generalities still. And all you have to do is, let's say you work in aeronautics, you can look at videos like my videos, like any other videos out on YouTube, on TikTok, on Twitter, whatever. Find the videos that do really well, and then you just need to replicate them, but for your own industry. One that always does very well is how to spot AI writing. And the flip side of that is how to make sure your AI doesn't sound like an AI. So like how to avoid that. All you need to do is create a video, which is how as an aeronautics engineer or whatever, you can stop your AI sounding AI. And so you create that same piece of content, but specific for your particular industry. And that's all you have to do. You need to do it consistently and it will take some time, but that will allow you to build up an audience. And then from there, you can monetize it quite easily, not through TikTok Creator Fund, not through YouTube advertising revenue. That's fine. That will give you some money, but the real money is in delivering workshops, in speaking gigs, in advisory and consultation, also implementation. So helping people to build software. And if you don't know how to do that, you can partner up with somebody and split the cash with them. So if you are a person who has some industry experience and you know a bit about AI, which you probably do because you're watching my kind of stuff, which tells me you're not watching complete trash on social media and you have an interest in artificial intelligence. So you already know more than 99% of people. If you combine those two, you're in a good position to do very well. So personally, the main thing I do is workshops. I get paid about £1,500 per hour for a workshop. So $1,700 US, something like that for 1 hour. The most I've been paid is $4,000 for an hour, which is good money. But this is not that unusual because the companies out there are crying out for this kind of training. They need help with artificial intelligence. So I actually have over 100 students who also go and give workshops like this as well. And the reason they pay so much, it's okay. They don't. Okay. This is mathematically, think of it this way. For you to get $2,000 for an hour's work seems like a lot of money as one individual. But if you are talking to 100 people in the room, that's actually, what did I say? 2,000? That ends up being $20 per person per hour, which is very cheap. No, even less. Yeah, $20 per person per hour, very cheap in terms of training. So if you just talk to larger groups, the way that training, learning and development departments think about it is like per head. How many people am I training? Oh, am I training 50 people at a time? Cool. I'll get this one trainer, pay them $1,000. That's $20 per person per head for the hour. Nice and cheap. So you can actually charge more. So that when I taught in Vegas and I got paid $4,000 for 1 hour, there were about 500 people in the room. So it ends up being extremely cheap per participant. And that's how they think. So you as an individual might be walking away with $4,000. Fantastic. But you are training 400, 500 people at the same time. So for the organizers and the people in the room, it's actually a real deal. So we use that kind of leverage and different scales in order to get paid very well as an individual, but to deliver high value to a lot of people. So yeah, if you do work in an industry, which is most people, there is an opportunity, many opportunities right now.